Hello, Uncle Spurt here, and today we're going to have a good hard squint at the fresh new Vivo V50. A trouser-rousingly stunning mid-range mobile boasting a massive 6000 mAh battery despite its slender design. And normally there would be a Vivo V50 and also a V50 Pro, but this year there's bugger all Pro model, just the regular vanilla V50. Which is great news because it means your Uncle Spurt's only got half the usual amount of work to do. More time for irresponsible drinking, huzzah! But is the camera tech any good? What's it like for gaming? Yada yada yada. Well, I've spent a solid 24 hours with the Vivo V50, so here's my in-depth unboxing, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first off, as usual, you can't help but be impressed by just how skinny the Vivo V50 is. It's a budgie's bell end over 7 mils thick, although you can add on a wee bit extra for that camera bump, which thankfully isn't too obscene at all. Although it does mean plenty of jiggle action if the Vivo V50 is flat on its back. Reminds me of your mum. As always, the bezels surrounding that display are impressively skinny as well. That near 6.8 inch display practically fills the front end. And as you can see there, the edges of the display ever so slightly curved, but it is rather subtle. The Vivo V50 sports a slim, glossy plastic frame stretching the full circumference of the phone, and then flip it around back, you've got a nice matte finish, which helps to repel all those disgusting, grimy, greasy fingerprints, etc. And I absolutely adore this Ancona red model. Now, I'll tell you what, there's absolutely not nearly enough red smartphones in the world. You basically got some back in the day Xperias, a handful of Motorola's, and of course, my favourite, the iPhone SE3, although that was mostly just red because I punched it so hard my knuckles bled. But the Vivo V50 is available in a handful of other colours besides this gorgeous burgundy red if you happen to have zero taste. And I do really enjoy how every element of this phone is red. You've got the back end, the camera bump, that plastic frame and the buttons. And even the wallpaper, which I usually immediately replace with geeky anime style shenanigans, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it here. Well, for a wee while, at least. At least I've gone with one that's still kind of red. Apparently you've got Gorilla Glass hiding the Vivo V50, although Vivo didn't specifically mention which version. But a big upgrade for the Vivo V50 over previous generations of just the regular V40, V30, etc. is you've got full IP68 and IP69 water and dust resistance. So it can be completely dunked in water and also take a full-on Bukkake style blasting, no worries. Now to unlock the V50, well, it's your regular in-display optical fingerprint sensor, and it seems absolutely fine, seems to be happily respond to me every time I slap my thumb down on there. And you've also got a bit of face unlock support as well, which again seems pretty happy in general, even if it's fairly dim conditions. Although if you're outdoors, got a big old hood on, then good luck, it's probably not going to recognise you. And then once you're into your phone, of course, as usual, you've got a good bit of FunTouch OS version 15 on here, grinding up against Android 15. And as usual, Vivo has committed to 3 years of Android OS updates and 4 years of security patching, which ain't bad at all for a mid-range mobile. Although apparently for European regions, you'll actually get a boost to that to 5 OS upgrades and 5 years of security patching, which is pretty bloody good. And of course, some people will think that FunTouch is more fun than others will, but you've got the usual Android staples in there, the Google Discover feed, you've got your apps drawer, pull down that notifications bar, which actually hasn't been separated into notifications and a different control center, unlike pretty much every other launcher I've tested recently. And as always, quite a generous amount of customization in here, from the ambient light effects and the fingerprint animation, and even the wee charging animation when you bung a USB cable in it. Unfortunately, you do have a few wee gripes, such as, for instance, the always on display isn't actually always on. You can only display it when you tap the screen or move the phone slightly. So it should really be called the sometimes on display when you poke the bloody thing. And of course, don't even get me started on the sheer amount of crapware the Vivo loads on this thing. It's an absolute bane of my existence. Hot games and hot apps, hot spicy hot. But hey, what about that massive great old get of a 6.77 inch AMOLED display? Somewhat weirdly, the resolution seems to have dropped over the previous generation to 2392 by 1080 Full HD. Although to be fair, visuals still perfectly crisp, still very happy kicking back with a bit of Netflix, YouTube, whatever on this bad boy. As it's an AMOLED screen, nice punchy visuals as you'd expect, great viewing angles, crispy contrast as well. You've got HDR10 Plus support, nice deep blacks and pretty crisp whites. And while it's not the brightest mid-range mobile that I've tested out, it's certainly more than bright enough to comfortably use outdoors. Although I will throw in the caveat that I live in the UK, where currently the only word that can be used to describe the weather is murk, possibly gloom. Now refresh rate maxes out at 120 Hz, and I do believe you have some pretty decent PWM dimming on here. So if you are more sensitive to a bit of OLED flicker in lower light conditions, well, hopefully no worries. And the Vivo V50 also sports a stereo speaker setup. Let's turn up that volume, check it out. So Samsung's latest Galaxy S series blowers have generally been greeted about as warmly as an eggy fart in a lift. So that audio is certainly pretty loud when you peak the volume, although sadly the sound quality isn't fantastic. It's a little bit staticky, a little bit distorted. Could really use some more bass as well, a bit more beef in those lows. And that bottom mounted speaker is certainly doing the majority of the graft compared with the top mounted speaker, which does sound even more tinny. So what is the brains of the operation here on the Vivo V50? Well, nothing too shocking. In fact, it actually rocks the same Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 that was stuffed inside of last year's Vivo V40. And that's backed by either 8 or 12 gigs of RAM, depending on the region, etc. As you can see, mine is the 12 gig model. And once again, no complaints with the everyday performance. It's super smooth. Even with FunTouch OS sat there on top of Android, everything feels pretty slick. Even though it's early days, I haven't found myself hanging around waiting for apps to load up or anything like that. It just pops straight up on the screen as soon as you tap that icon. You can happily have lots of apps ticking away in the background as well without slowing things down. And if you happen to be a gamer, well, you've got that ultra game mode as usual. You can swipe it out at any point for quickly blocking your so-called friends and annoying family people so they don't interrupt your session. Plenty of other features and tools packed on here as well. And of course the old performance panel, so you can give your game a bit of a boost if required, so tweak the touch sampling rate, etc. There is a tool that can prioritize the frame rate by dropping the resolution, and you've also got the esports mode if you want a proper full bit of immersion and again the maximum possible performance. But even with the likes of this enabled, I found that Wuthering Waves didn't play quite as fluidly as what I saw in more capable handsets, even when I did keep the visuals on the lower settings just to be sure. It was still perfectly playable though, if not quite as reactive as I would have liked. As long as you don't mind the occasional drop in the old frame rate, the old slightly juddery bit of performance here and there, then it does the job. And of course the likes of PUBG and Call of Duty and stuff like that, which is far more scalable and adaptive to different smartphone technology, should run absolutely perfectly. And good news if you are proper addicted to murdering stuff as a skimpily dressed anime lass, because you've got a big old vapor chamber stuffed inside of the Vivo V50. This does a pretty good job of dissipating any heat that might have otherwise built up inside. So the V50 stays pretty cool to the touch. Warms up slightly if you've been gaming for like an hour or so, but certainly nowhere near the level where you need to start worrying and start seeing any kind of performance throttling. So no real changes for the performance there, but the Vivo V50 does boast a pretty big upgrade when it comes to the battery tech, because you got a 6,000 mAh capacity cell stuffed inside of that slender, skinny chassis. Not quite as ridiculously big as the Honor Magic 7 Lite, admittedly, but it's still more than big enough to get all the boys blushing. And while previous Vivo V series smartphones would happily last you a day, even with quite intensive use, the Vivo V50 will keep you going for a full weekend as long as you're not solidly playing the likes of Wuthering Waves. So for instance, just this afternoon, since the last time I fully charged it up to 100%, I've had that screen on for just over 3 hours, demonstrating all the various features, etc. to your good self. And yet the battery life has still only ticked down to 72%. And hey, even if you do need to give it a quick bit of juicing up in a jiffy, well, no worries there. You've got 90-watt wired charging support, so bung a cable in there, you'll watch that battery meter absolutely fly up, although once again, no wireless charging support here. And I'm certainly glad to see that the Vivo V50 comes with half a terabyte of storage stuffed on there, which you don't even get on the base S25 Ultras or the iPhone 16 Pro Maxes. You have to hoy extra cash at Samsung and Apple for that kind of storage. Although yes, as is pretty much standard these days, bugger all expandability via micro SD memory cards, so you've just got space in the SIM tray for 2 SIMs. So let's end this lovely wee Vivo V50 unboxing and 24-hour review with a squint at the camera tech. And as you can see, Vivo's once again teamed up with Zeiss for the optics. As long as your eyesight's actually up to reading, there's dinky wee text there. Unlike last year's V40, you got a 50 meg primary shooter, though Vivo's actually jumped back to the OmniVision OV50E sensor as previously found in the Vivo V30. And as usual, the shooting mode is set to vivid by default. You can quickly toggle over to Zeiss Natural, like so. And the difference between the two is immediately apparent. While the V50 didn't have any blue skies to highlight in any of my test shots, it certainly does make more vibrant subjects really pop and slightly saturates scenes in general. So if you're not a fan of this more Samsung-y, iPhone-y-esque way of doing things, definitely stick it on Zeiss Natural. That'll calm things down a bit. As I say, I've spent just 24 hours so far with the Vivo V50, but as usual, the photo quality seems pretty reliable across a range of conditions. Contrast is generally handled well, again, particularly on the Zeiss Natural setting, while low-light shots also aren't too grainy. And of course, as usual, you've got the Aura Ring flash, which you can always turn to when things get proper dark. If you find this is absolutely blinding your subject, you can dial that brightness down, thankfully. And as always, you can tweak the warmth as well, make it super warm or super cool to suit your environment. And here's just a couple of examples of the awesome selfies I took, both hot and cold, in my studio here. Definitely a fan of that hot mode, as it looks like I'm slightly less pale than Casper the f***ing Ghost. And the second and only other shooter on the Vivo V50 is a 50 meg ultra-wide angle snapper. And this offers a completely different tonal reproduction again to the main shooter, but you know, it's there if you need it. Plenty of fine detail packed in there. This is actually pretty decent for your up-close macro snaps as well. And of course, naturally, you got full-on dedicated pro mode if you do want to shoot in RAW, and also piddle about with the likes of the white balance, the shutter speed, ISO levels, saturation, etc. And then lastly, up front, you've got yet another 50 megapixel camera sensor for that selfie shooter, and this can capture an up to 4K resolution at 30 frames per second. Otherwise, if you turn on the steady face tool, this improves the stabilization, mostly just by cropping in a wee bit, although you can only max out that resolution at full HD with this, doesn't support 4K. You've also got vocal enhancement, which is a wee icon you can tap up in the corner there. And just help to keep your vocals nice and clear while also helping to reduce any background bollockry that might be going on if you're in a slightly noisier environment trying to do a bit of Skyping or a bit of your TikToking or whatever. And there you have it, my lovelies. That in a tasty wee nutshell is the luscious, gorgeous burgundy Vivo V50. God, I love that colour. Couple of upgrades over the old Vivo V40, including of course an all-new bigger battery. And it's now fully water resistant as well, can take a proper full-on spurting if that's ever an issue. And of course it's the top dog as there is no Pro model in 2025, but it'd be great to hear your thoughts on the Vivo V50 down in the comments below. Please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and Reddit as well, don't forget the red. Have yourselves a bloody wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you.